Hey everybody, and welcome back to Wilderness Springs, episode 3. And this episode, it really focuses quite a bit of the beginning of the time lapse here. I slowed it down so we'd have a little bit more time to chat, and you could kind of just see a little bit of the design and not fly by as quick. But we're putting in the first roller coaster of the park. It's a swinging mine train coaster, still unnamed. And actually, if you've been following me on Twitter, I have stopped messing with it right now. So I still put a cool little fun spin on it. You'll see once we slow down and do the actual walkthrough, I've got some construction walls up, and I put some scaffolding up on the side of the mountain, like the workers are still working on the rock work and all that. But we're getting close. I just, I didn't want to rush the layout of it. So I know a lot of you coaster guys, you'll probably like projectile vomit when you see that I just pretty much did the lift hill and the very first drop, and then that's it. But like I said, I kind of just want to, pump the brakes a little bit on it and not get too crazy with it. And by stopping, it kind of helped me pull back a little bit and go back over towards the Emporium side of the park, do a little more work, and actually do some really neat Plaza work in front of the new coaster. So like we've been saying, this park, the sight lines are important, the weenies are important, like right when you come through the front gate and you see Barnstormer, and you'll barely be able to see a glimpse of this, kind of like the mine shaft opening up here at the top of this hill you're seeing right now. So doesn't, give a whole lot away, but it's definitely something that I think would draw the attention and draw the crowds back to like that back right section right after you pass Barnstormer. But having a lot of fun still just designing this park and doing some research. And what I like most, I think, what I like most about Wilderness Springs is it doesn't try to be anything it's not. It's just I'm keeping it, from a design aspect. It's just a nice, fun hometown kind of park with a substantial budget. Obviously doing this kind of ride and with this rock work and all that's going into this, they would definitely have to have a good bit of funding. But it's by no means like, well, I was telling one of my buddies on Twitter last night that take this coaster as a mixture between Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Everest in Disney. So, and probably since I've been messing with recreating Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Planet Coaster, which hopefully I'll have an update video out for that soon too, that has really kind of gotten me into the to the mine train type of mood lately, and especially since we've just gotten the swinging mine car in particular, really has taken a lot of my attention to that, and with the Seven Dwarfs. But it's like we had spoke about before, taking that practice, that even the recent practice here, maybe like a week or two ago, haven't messed with it in about a week, but just that terraforming practice for that ride is actually, I think, it translating pretty well into this, even though I've stopped it for now. But like I mentioned, I've stopped it for the overall good of the park, and to just kind of let me flesh out some more of the story right when the guests come in, instead of kind of rushing to get this coaster done, because we don't have a set limit on episodes for this. So I am just, like I said, making myself take my time on this park, trying to add as much detail as possible, and really keep it as believable as possible. So that's kind of what we're rolling with here, and that's why I have kind of stopped the design on it as of the end of episode 3. So hopefully I'll get in there and fill out a little more of the park. I need to take some more attention back over towards where the Emporium is and where Calhoun's is, and probably just move around that corner a little bit, because probably it's almost time to set the scene or set the area for another flat ride, maybe even another set of flat rides. And, you know, keeping true with the Dollywood theme, really was hoping I could get your guys' feedback on this. I was thinking remember the Reds drive-in and that build I did back in Geyser Springs, but I thought you guys would think it would be pretty cool if I did a 1950s type strip in this park. Just like where, if you Google it and look up some of the pictures, just like where Lightning Rod sets in Dollywood, that whole area is themed out to 1950s, and I thought that would be cool. We'll get in here, we'll pick out some flat rides to feature, just try to maybe, you know, see what works out best with the story, and maybe get a 1950s area coaster. And like I said, we're talking off to the left, so we'll look into that a little more once the time lapse is done. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I thought Wilderness Springs, even though, yeah, we're sticking with the wilderness type of elements, I still think a 1950s Dollywood-esque type area, not only do I think I could execute it really well, I really like that style, that retro style, you know, 50s Americana type builds. I could even do a theater on the street, kind of like you see in maybe like Disney Hollywood Studios, the Planet Studios theater. You know, not necessarily that, but that kind of 50s theme. And we could, like I said, do the theater. All kinds of ideas could come with a strictly 1950s type area inside Wilderness Springs. And like I mentioned, also the notion of maybe adding a second coaster over there. So, and you can see in the video right here, I've just got to put the little construction walls up, and I thought that would be pretty cool. Like, you know, you guys that are following this, you can like tell, okay, well, in this episode, the construction walls are down, so he must be getting ready to open the new mine train coaster. So that's my thought on this while you guys are keeping up with this. And I'm not actually working on that coaster. I thought it'd be a really neat idea to put up construction walls, like, so you can see that this is not ready yet. I know how much we hate construction walls in real life, but I figured in this it would pretty cool little element to add, just to add a little touch of realism. You know, why our Wilderness Springs guests are kind of waiting for the new mine train or the mine coaster to open. So that is that just it really ties in with the whole just what I wanted this park, the authenticity of the park, how I wanted it to be, and you know, it really just it really makes us get more involved with the little guests and stuff that come in, and they're sitting there walking. And, you know, when I only let 200 guests in right now, because I don't want my CPU and all that to kind of be bogged down by you know, letting in 1,000, 2,000 guests. And anybody that's wondering, I know I get a lot of questions about this, but I am actually running an R9 380 4 gigabyte video card, and I'm running a Vicora, a Black Edition AMD processor, 8-core. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of problems out of it until, like a lot of you guys, I hear you say, once you get up to the, you know, you get up into the letting the 3, 4, 5,000 guests into the park, you start bogging down real bad. And you know, yeah, that does kind of stink. But as far as, I don't usually let that many in anyway until I'm starting to maybe like do final cinematics and that stuff. So letting 200 in, kind of, it's really cool, like when I'm sitting here designing in real time. but still getting to see them like walk around and starting to get on the rides and stuff. So that's why, 200-300, I'll let them in and kind of let them wander around, and I don't really have too many problems out of it at this point. So, and got to give another big shout out. This building, actually, I created it for Geekism. So John T's Christmas build. This is the facade that I started for his German Christmas bar. And I just thought that, change out the roof, change out the color, it would work really cool as a little drink stop right here at this big plaza. And luckily, I put a slush room in here, and it ended up working out really cool to kind of be flanked right here at this big crossroads where people will go up to the eventual other side of the mine coaster or make their way back over towards Homer's Creek. And it worked out perfect with filling in this plaza. And you see me here placing 90s. I think I will use 90s his tables and umbrellas probably until I stop playing this game. I'm a big proponent of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you might be wondering, well, why are you still using his picnic tables and his umbrellas when we have real ones now? Well, it's all about the look. And, yes, the real ones that the people can actually sit down on look great. But those ones he created back in the alpha, either alpha or the beta, they just aesthetically, to me, they look just incredible. So I will continue to use them. It's just, it just looks too cool not to. So that's kind of what my reason is behind still using kind of the, quote unquote fake tables and chairs. They just look so well. That's why I just picked them up and continued using them. So, and I don't want to try to prescribe any particular design approach to you guys. Like I said, my aim is just what helps tell the story, and so yeah, I just kind of run with it. There's lots of books and stuff out there that touch upon aspects of theme park design. So don't just take my theories and my level of design as, something that you have to do to make it work. I watch a lot of your guys' videos, and there is I get a ton of information, especially from guys like Silverette and Free the Bear, and those guys that are really really knowledgeable in theme park and coaster design. So you just have to just use what you feel comfortable using and what you think can make what you think you can make look good. It's all about what story are you trying to tell with here? Like I said, we're going for a more Dollywood toned back type of park, and this the kind of style and the theming I've went with have just worked out really really well so far. And like I said, taking this building from the build I did for Geekism, it's just one of those things where it popped into my head, and I thought, let's just go ahead and throw that in there. But it's all about switching out different themes, and like I mentioned, what you think you can make work. And another thing here, see, I actually right here I decided to scrap the in-game tables and go ahead with 90s because it just, like I said, this plaza right here, it just ended up looking better. But I bring back one of my early builds that I built actually for one of my adventure type parks, and you'll see it here in a minute. But one of my old blueprints I still had lying around was the rock climbing wall. So I think it's still a few minutes away in the actual time lapse, because I wanted to, at this part right here you're watching, I wanted to go in and tie in some loose ends right here with the emporium and the couple of little shops right here. But one of my buddies, actually one of my Patreons, Michael Greenslade, had a pretty neat idea, so I might leave this open and test it out back here. But he said that this area right here behind the emporium would make could make a good turnaround area for a coaster. So I don't know. We'll just kind of have to see. I don't know if the only problem is with before he mentioned that, I already had the 1950s stuff kind of swirling around in my head, and I don't know if as far as wanting to stay true to realism, if the 1950s coaster and whatever coaster I had right here, I think, I wouldn't want them to encroach on each other too much. And another thing too, like I was telling him and like me and him were discussing, I'm really digging the kind of like the backstage work right now. It's really, really a ton of fun. If you haven't started designing backstage areas in your park, I would suggest that, because it gives you it is a ton of fun. Gives you a really, really really good sense of accomplishment. I have found, and one would think that just putting in some backstage doors and a parking lot and stuff wouldn't bring that much closure to an area, but believe me, it does. Like when you do these backlot designs, it really brings a sense of finishing and tying off an area instead of just leaving it blank, or maybe like you're accustomed to hiding it with trees, maybe just hiding the back area with foliage. If you actually take that little bit of extra time and create you a nice backstage area, I can't really explain it, but it leaves you feeling a really, really, really interesting sense of accomplishment closing off areas. And yeah, here on this part, you can see I've dropped in the rock climbing wall, and I actually started on a really big pavilion right here. Don't know what I'll put in it. Don't know if I'll just have some character actors walking around here, or what we'll do. But I figured this wilderness style park lends itself good to have a rock climbing wall section. So, you guys give me your thoughts on that. And I think it worked out really good on this, like I mentioned, this big bend, this big plaza right here. So, we will, I think what we need to go ahead and do at this point, because I've kept you here for almost 17 or 18 minutes now at this point, is we'll wrap up this plaza. And before you go, let's jump into the park. Let's go ahead and go into real time, and we'll do a quick tour, and we'll just kind of take it from there. I'll go ahead and get this uploaded, and really look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on episode 3, and what you think about how this park is progressing. I can't believe we're already on episode 3. It literally just, the ideas are kind of just pouring out of me right now. So I am definitely recording as much as possible. And still having a ton of fun. And thanks to your guys' feedback, even more ideas are coming in, like Michael and a lot of you guys. And like Kitty was saying that I need a really cool, like maybe do like a rope and banister in front of the airplane and all that at Barnstormer. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the real time real quick. Hold on one sec. All right, guys, so we are definitely growing in size, aren't we? If you're new to this series, this is Wilderness Springs. It is a realistic type park that I started about a week or so ago, and we are moving right along with this little project. So here's, like I said, I've started the first drop and all that, and let's see, it's testing, so you'll get to see it come down. I've started the first drop in kind of like the mine entryway here on the park's first coaster, but I've actually kind of I put up these construction walls like I mentioned in the time lapse, because I don't really know the whole rest of the layout yet. I don't know how I want it to weave and make its way back through there, if I want it to be more inside, like, more in mine, or if I want it to be a good, like maybe, Big Thunder Mountain mixture. That comes out of there really smooth and then shoots them back up into the mine. But so I figured right now, while we're just kind of holding everything off, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, I've got the construction walls up. So pardon our dust for now. And yeah, so I'm just like I said, having a lot of fun with it. We've got the rock wall in, rock climbing wall. It'd be really cool one day if the actual guests could actually use the rock climbing wall. But for right now, it's just as a pretty cool little set piece. I think it works out really well right here. And we added, like I said, from the Geekism build I did, we got our kind of split up the German market, the German bar, set it right here. And I thought this would be really cool, you know, taking like as far as elements go. If you just got you a drink and you come over and sat down at one of these tables, look, you have the viewpoint of watching, like you could sit down with your drink or your food or your burger and watch the mine train coaster, the swinging coaster come out of the mine shaft up there. So I thought that would be pretty cool just to have a little plaza and yeah, a setting area over there. Another thing I really like about how the first drop turned out and the just this whole first little area is it's not too imposing. The way it was designed, you're not going to, you know, it gives your eye. There's a little bit of rest, you know. It's not like this just big jarring giant, you know, hyper coaster just stuck up way. You can see it from the parking lot. I like how it's a little more hidden, and it just fits in with the landscape over there and the scenery really well. Just kind of like how our barnstormer area with the red concrete and the black asphalt and all that just fit in really well back here in this little corner. So that's kind of what we're doing with this. It's I'm working on it like little pockets at a time and spending as much time and as much detail as I can on those pockets before you know, really moving out and just trying to get it done. Like I said, we're only on episode 3, and we already have a ton done. So that is that is kind of my goal on this. Like I've said from the first episode, we're just taking my time on the creek, taking my time on the rides. Like I mentioned, we got the 1950s area that I'm planning, and we got to you know, keep working on the creek, keep expanding you know, the creek, because like I said, that's a big part. It'll weave in and out of the entire park until it finally it actually enters. You know, it'll enter at the way back when we're finished up. So, but anyways, guys, yeah. So just leave me your feedback on all this and just tell me what you think as far as the direction of the park goes. And a really big question, like I said, if you guys would enjoy a 1950s area type break off with restaurants, flat rides, and like I mentioned, maybe even a coaster. And also too, we got to be looking and planning since we're working our way out a little more towards the middle. One of you guys had just asked me very recently if I plan on doing any monorails or railroads. And you know, monorails absolutely not, because that's just way, I think, out of the scope of what's needed for a park like this, and would totally break the story and the illusion. But a railroad, definitely. I think more or less it would be a Dollywood type railroad where it's completely scenic. There's no other place that it drops you off and you know, totally not used to move guests. So it will. I think we will do that eventually once we work our way a little more out and get a little more of the base of the park done. But for right now, going to hold off on the train. But that is, I think, for these kind of parks, it's just an integral part and a really fun part of these builds. So yeah, a train will be coming eventually. You know, just not anytime soon, or just not for any of the episodes that'll be coming up anytime soon. So anyways, guys, like always, leave me a thumbs up if you end up enjoying this video, and subscribe for more. Wilderness Springs content and Planet Coaster content. I hope to see you guys in episode 4. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you.